What's good with the YouTube? You already know. Big Flacco from a convict's perspective with my co-host, Senor Rojo. Man, I'm looking pretty good in the Bay right now. So I'm going to smash, dash, and slide on through. A little bit of energy, man.
In the Bay.
In the Bay. In the Bay, right. Bay. So anyways, man, what we're going to be tapping in today with, and as you can tell by the title and stuff, we're going to be talking about before there was ever SNY, man, and how things used to operate and how there was, a lot of stuff was going on that people don't understand. There was really no PC back in the days. There was considered a couple soft yards. Like back then, I think CMC East was one of the well-known soft yards, as well as Vacaville. And they still had active cats on these yards at the time, man. So the politics were not pushed as hard back then as far as what was expected of you. There was no 72 hours to get off or none of that kind of stuff, man. People just fell in foul where they fell in foul. And I'm going to let Rojo go on for a little bit. We're going to give you guys some examples and just kind of break this topic down, because before the SNY, which started to come around in 98, was when they first started it, when they started the special program in San Quentin. Then it blew up from there, Lancaster, Mill Creek, and so forth.
Yeah, hey, I remember one incident in particular, man, my first term. Excuse me, I ended up on the Susanville 1 yard. I only had like 17 points, man. I was just in there for breaking into stores and shit. But there was a dude from San Jose, Leonard Mejia. Mm-hmm. Him and Bobby Mejia, both, they're brothers. They're both NF dropouts, and they had been for some time. Well, Leonard Mejia was right in there, and of course he was, the captain's clerk, and he had the plush little, they had like one little dorm, man. I don't remember what number it was, man, but it was right over by where all the offices and shit were. And him and some other dudes, I don't know who the other dudes were, but they were highly suspicious too. At that time I had no education. I didn't know nothing. My county was notoriously known for being under subpar, as far as the homeboys went and how they conduct themselves, their education. But Leonard Mejia stood out, man. And what tripped me out, man, more is like in the future, I get to San Quentin, I get, educated by the best. And there was a dude in there that it came through, and I'm not gonna blast his name off. It was a Puerto Rican cat that I was on the yard with, and he was kind of basically the go-to guy, basically a yard rep. You know what I'm saying? This is a yard rep, bro, yard rep, and a MAC rep, whatever they want to call him. But he ended up going to the hole, man, and I found out, man, he was educated. You know what I'm saying? Like when he was in the hole, I never realized it at the time, but he was a very well-educated dude, and man, he should have known better. You know what I mean? He comes to the hole and he's programming like normal. I didn't pull his cards or nothing. It wasn't that serious, but they get around, bro. They were placing them in all kinds of level 1s and 2s, throughout the state, and they know most people on a level 1 are either going to be first termers or people who ain't about that action anyway. You know what I mean? So, they were hiding, ducking, and dodging, and then even fast forward a few years, I'm in the hole in Quentin. And an individual named Flacco from San Jose, also known, real name, Marty Lomas. He slid through, and I guess he was an NF member at one point in time. And he came right out to the yard like he was supposed to be there. And, this was during the time where communications were rough, bro. You know what I mean? It would take, a substantial amount of time to get any kind of definite, yes or no on an individual from Pelican Bay. So, just something about him rubbed me the wrong way, but, I had never heard of him. I had never seen his name on a list or nothing that I had come across. So, I basically just embraced him in the house, man, but come to find out, man, just like a week after he left wherever he was going, they were like, oh, that dude's a piece of shit. I'm like, it's just, man, it's the whole SNY thing, man. It really changed, man, because them dudes used to go lay low and go on them 1 or 2 yards and work with the captains and, just enjoy, the general population, the whole experience of it, with youngsters who don't know no better. And then you might end up getting in trouble down the line. Yeah. Like, what were you doing on the yard with that dude? Man, I didn't know that dude. Never heard of him. This is my first term, bro. I don't know nothing about dudes that fell off in the late 70s and early 80s, bro. He was to me he was just the OG that everybody kind of congregated around because, I know why now, but at the time I just thought he was holding the keys,
See, back then, what people don't realize, right? There was a lot of bad calls that happened in certain oils, certain yards, and whatnot. So someone could say that they got hit at this facility, it'd be a bad call. And sometimes people would portray that when they had the trademark hit. Oh, I got cleared of it. It should never happen. You know, I was on a yard in Solano. Okay, first and foremost, you had the dude that was running the yard. He got deemed in Tracy before he even left. He got hit. You know what I mean? When he went to the hole. Okay, Tito from Stockton. You know, and you know his. I kind of like Tito, but then he just had degenerate tendencies. You know what I mean? Like got caught fucking around with a chirula one time in the cell. Fucking, I seen him slam dope with a fucking wood. No, I swear to God, the homeboy was lit. He had fucking half his body in the fucking door like this with a chirula's fucking room on purpose. No lie. But then you also had people like Hobo was on the yard with us, Ricardo London, and Smiley Ramos, man. And all three of those dudes, man, regardless that they're not active, they're like us, they're righteous, bro. They're not fucking bad dudes, man. They're with that motherfucking action, bro. Those dudes were, when they got rushed, the dudes tried to rush them because they thought they were the OGs. Them OGs put hands on the cats. Big time. They fucked up. You know what I'm saying? But even we were questioning it back then. You know what I mean? I had someone tell me one time when I first got there, we have there's 3 C's on the yard. There's this many bros. I'm thinking like, who are the C's? You know what I mean? And you know, there's so much manipulation being played on these yards, people going from prison to prison, that if you were a degenerate and you had established your presence on that yard, usually it was because you were working with administration and you had the soldados around you to give you the support. So it would be hard to hit a yard and infiltrate it because either one, you're going to get rolled up, or two, you're going to get hit. You know, Salinas Valley was like that. High Desert, one of the yards was like that. Jamestown was like that. And each yard had a different type of, you know, because there was no PC back then. You know, CMC East is where they used to hide some of the old school dropouts. You know what I'm saying? I even got sent there. You know what I'm saying? And I remember being in the hole and communicating with the homeboys, some youngsters, right? Telling them that they couldn't be fucking up, they couldn't be out there. And there was a dude out there that was kind of fucking manipulating, that was acting like he was a big homie named Flacco from Avedon. You know what I'm saying? But there's nothing I could do. I'm probably sending these kites out there to him, and these dudes are just fucking probably giving it to him. And they were only like 5 deep on the yard. I mean, and everything was camouflaged in. That's how it was. So if you were like an old timer, this is what they used to do too. They'd hit a yard, right? Maybe a new number. And then they would say that they were fucking Native American was a new claim that they used to claim. But if you notice, they wouldn't associate with anybody, and they'd associate with these people. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, people back then, man, to be a fucking dropout, you still had to have some huevos, man, because you were still going to those yards.
Yeah.
A lot of them, believe it or not, a lot of dropouts, you get out the shoe or whatnot, a lot of them don't believe in telling. So once they get out there, they're just out there, whatever's going to come their way is going to come their way. You know what I'm saying? I talked to a couple of dudes, they were on those Mainlines for years and it finally got moved on later. You know what I'm saying? And eventually they had to put them on SNY because there was no SNY. The politics changed. Back then, there was a lot of issues because of the defacility dilemmas, you know that, and the dismantling the NR was around the corner. So when the defacility dilemmas was happening, so say you were an NR member at that time, you used to be able to channel to the bank. You know what I'm saying? And this is right when they stripped them all of their fucking of their cat status, because before the NR had a cat status, structure had a cat status. And so you had a New Rasa council, and then every fucking block had a fucking NRA administrator. And a lot of times you'd be plugged in with someone that is in there with the NRA. And see, the administrators were the ones that were sending out directives for all NR members back then. And then any major investigations were supposed to go to the NRT. But like I said before, a lot of these guys that were sitting in these rank within the NR were actually fucking undercover Cs, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And that way it gave the NFL enough way to monitor everything.
They all were.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I mean, though.
They all were.
Yeah. So pretty much what ended up happening from there is, say you're communicating with one person, the defacility dilemmas was a big issue because there was different directives coming out. Yeah. This dude saying this person's no good, this person, you know what I mean? And so if you're channeling, you don't know what information is accurate.
Right.
So a dude that maybe was over here that got kicked out the bay, right? You know what I'm saying? He was over here with Smiley. Okay, this dude with Bandera is over here. You know what I'm saying? And you're communicating over here. They're going to tell you this dude's no good. Yeah. I mean, it got so bad. I heard that it got so bad that there was homeboys that were spitting on homeboys, gassing each other, all that. Nobody talks about how bad defacility dilemmas got, man. It was gruesome amongst homeboys, man. They were doing a lot of fucked up shit, man. A lot of messed up stuff, man. And so when people had those people out there on the line, there was no, the communication was fucking, you couldn't trust it. You know what I'm saying? So if someone told you this dude was no good, nobody wanted to put their career on the line if he was still good. And then there was those that would come out there, right? And they talk about, oh, I'm an undercover card. Nah, I swear to God, Rojo. You know what I'm saying? Or they wouldn't expose it. You know what I'm saying? They would maybe drop lugs, but the whole time they were fucking a dropout. You know what I'm saying? Like Smiley, I remember Smiley, man, good ass fucking dude. That's fucking Fig's brother-in-law, right? That dude's the first dude that actually pulled me to the side and gave me the fucking real history about the NF, right? He says, I know, I heard all the rumors. He goes, but I'm still not going to lock it up. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm not against the gente. You know what I'm saying? And he wasn't. He was all, the thing I respected about Hobo, you know, when Ricardo London, we didn't know about him, but we found out later who he was. But Smiley and Hobo, they were always fucking pleasant to talk to. They were always respectful, and they would lace you up if you asked. But they did not intervene in any of the politics on that yard. But they would always see, if they seen something, they would fucking let the homeboys know. And they were always on fucking time, game tight. Well, they had to be, because half the fucking leadership was fucking on heroin. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you know what's crazy too is, you know, not even during any kind of like D-facility dilemmas or Fed state, any of those major internal confrontation type things. But man, if you have a certain, you know, you got big neighborhoods, big areas like San Jose, Salinas and whatnot, and there's multiple different people, you know, in positions of authority in Pelican Bay, you know, that have different sections of town. Like, okay, let's just say, for example, you got Lizard and me from the East Bay. You know, the directives Lizard might get, you know, may be very different from mine. And that leads to problems too, man, because well, we both think we're doing the right thing because they're coming from our direct channel. And we both had solid channels. You know what I mean? Lizard had his, and you know who I had. So it's like these things have a way of, man, the differences in communications, bro, get people in a wreck. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I told you in confidence before, man, that dude tried to get a hold of me many times, but I never liked that dude. You know what I mean? And I know for a fact a lot of the stuff he was putting out there was just shit that he made up or the FBI told him to make up. You know, just by listening to it, I'm like, man, that ain't right. I know my side of the fence wouldn't listen to this shit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's another thing too, what people don't realize too, man, is, and it's kind of off topic. This will be a good topic in the future. There's some of those that are scheduled to drop out, and they're ready to do as much damage as they can before they do. So they'll put out certain filters and so forth and try to cross shit up just to do it on purpose because they're already going to drop out, and they hold that type of animosity. Maybe they did something, they fucked up or whatnot, whatever it may be. That has happened. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I think there's a little bit of that going on right now.
Yeah.
Be totally honest with you, you know?
We think that may be going on, man. So you know what I'm saying? We don't want to say too much, but like I told you guys before, remember I told you guys the first time I did a spill, I said either it's 100% accurate or it's or someone in position is trying to put out misleading information. That may be the case, guys. I think you guys can put 2 and 2 together, man, but we want to be certain for certain, because either way, no one has came out saying anything against that, but the fact that we said it's 100% accurate that filters have gone out to county jails, pintas in the streets, that is a fact. So when we based upon our information, we have to go, okay, that this is factual evidence. We're kind of looking into it further though, man, because as we're telling you guys, 100% facts that this is what's being said by people in position out there in certain areas. Okay. But this may be misleading information. So we're gonna be checking into that. Just so you guys know, that's a little eye opener for you guys. Yeah. And this is typical of what degenerates and dropouts do.
I mean, we got multiple actives that have been on here, and you know, they've seen the filter as well. But we're starting to question the validity and authenticity if that is a stamped filter that has came out.
Yes.
And we're starting to believe it may not be. So, I mean, you never know, man. This has happened so many times throughout history. I mean, think about people that know in their mind, right? Like, you know in your mind, I'm done with this shit. But maybe you got 6 months left to the pass, so you're just going to play the long game, play it off, but you're already disillusioned and you know, fuck these people. I'm going to fuck them up as much as I can.
That even gets to law enforcement sometimes, and law enforcement are believing it, and the only ones that are going to know are the handlers over there that are there. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's even fucking law enforcement that are fucking saying that this, and they don't have the fucking sometimes all the information. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I get what you're saying. We don't know. I mean, I don't know either. I know 100% that this is what's being said. 100% that's filters. There's actual filters on it, and so forth, man. And you know, we got our speculations. You know what I mean? of who may be behind it. I think I had a personal run-in with that dude, as a matter of fact, by the way. But we'll see what happens.
Hey, you know what pisses me off, man? Now that I think about it, that dude Marty Lomas Flacco that snuck through the 6-yard for like a month, bro. That dude had the audacity to try to tell me something about my chain of command that I had established in San Quentin at the time. You know what I mean? And I had to listen. You know what I mean? Because I was affording him the equal respect, even though I had the keys. He was just somebody to assist me.
Were you guys using what system were you guys using back then for changing?
No, just some of the certain individuals that I had in place. You know what I mean?
That's what people failed to realize.
And then I find out like 2 weeks later that dude's fucking way no good, bro. I was like,
let me ask you something. Did you have squad commanders and positions like that instead of leaders? You did, huh?
Man, I mean, I had H units set up with a 3-person system, and then they were allowed to appoint in our positions as they felt necessary, like building security, yard security, whatever. But I had bros in H unit. I had one in North Block. You know what I mean? And I let them appoint things how they were, as long as everything went smooth.
Yeah,
I was mostly concerned with the whole.
So I used to just have RAs out there, period.
Yeah.
For each block or each unit, like whatever wing they were in or whatnot. Same thing over there. We had all coded names back then too. It was like, like it could be all a bunch of baseball teams. You know what I'm saying? Bunch of football teams. And then some places we'd have codes and stuff that I have with numbers. They're supposed to have a code list. And then some places I'd have it, the kites could only come out a certain way. Because I didn't want nobody to know how I was sending kites out to them. How they had to be stamped. Of course, people talk, so I'd have to switch codes all the time, man. And that's another thing too. I think I brought this up too, man. And just because someone's on a B&L, right, does not always mean that they're a dropout no good. You know what I mean? It depends where it comes from. Did it come from somewhere like Quinmas? Did it come somewhere from like Santa Clara County, some Monterey County? Did it come from Pelican Bay when the Bay was up there? Those are honored strongholds. What that means is when stuff comes from there, it gets honored. But if it comes from somewhere like Susanville or Avenal, places like that, what we used to call them cross references. And it's something, if their name comes up on it, we're going to investigate. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they don't report it. Because everybody's afforded due process, unless we know that they're just a fucking piece of shit, then you get dealt with back then. I mean, it's just how it was. But I've seen people act on B&Ls that were wrong and be in the wrong because of it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And a lot of times it's those that just, like we've talked about, man. I think Half had mentioned it. There's those youngsters that just want to whack everybody. It's not about calling someone getting whacked. It's about making the right call and salvaging careers, because in the long run, if people see that you help people out, they're going to be more supportive of you as a leader. Where if you're just fucking having these whack because you're in position, people are going to gossip behind your back. They're going to feel a certain way. But if they see you trying to help people and do right, and there's no really sometimes you have to tell people like, look, you're not entitled to know everything that's going on. Just do your part. You know what I'm saying? But don't feel like there's any faulty stuff going on or anybody's, you know what I mean? And so sometimes you got to lead by example and doing the right things, and therefore nobody's going to question everything else you're doing.
Shit, man, it's better to lead by respect than fear. If people respect you and they want to fall off, maybe they won't involve you when they depart. But if they're scared of you, you're going to get involved in their little debriefing process, or taking the stand, or whatever the case might be.
I call it removal, bro. And the two dudes started having a hard time. I was the third one to jump in because everybody else was hesitating. You know what I'm saying? I jumped in and jumped out. And I tried to jump in the third time. They didn't get me on camera. The second time they got me on camera going halfway, and I stopped because everybody's like, you're a fool for getting involved. Well, fuck. You guys had a hard time. Homeboy was getting busy, you know what I mean?
He was ready, yeah.
He went down to bend down, and he went to show the homeboy how he fixes his shoe. So he's on one knee and stuff. And homeboy looked at me and shit. I told him, go ahead. You know what I mean? Fuck it. He's slipping. And so he kicked him in the fucking face, straight in the fucking face, bro. And you know what I mean? And it was another youngster that was about 18, that's skinny as fuck, bro. The old cleanup he got caught with a fucking piece out there at the reception, right? So, and then the other homeboy, he's little. He's like 5'2". So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we didn't have the manpower to really do it, but it had to be done. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man.
But that's what I trip on people coming out to the hole in Quentin, where that there's some firepower on the 6 yard and Quentin, especially, you know, through the 90s. I don't know so much no more. But back when me and you were going through there was liable to be 5 C's, 25 bros, straight killers. You know what I mean?
I was scared, bro. I was nervous, bro.
To sneak through that motherfucker, bro. Like,
you know, as a first termer and you go out to that yard, you're gonna be fucking nervous, bro.
I was nervous. Shit.
I was fucking nervous as fuck because they tell you have to come out with your shirt off and shit, and it's fucking 50 degrees as it is, right?
You can't have nothing over your neck and shit. Like, hey, why you want to see my neck so bad?
Hey, I'm as skinny as shit back then. I'm scared I'm gonna fly away with all that wind, bro.
Yeah, no, I get it.
You know, but yeah, it's a different time era, man. Like, and I've been other places too, man, where you know, where people try to exploit that as far as even in kites, and they try to establish command when you get there, that they're still in good standings. You know what I'm saying? They build that wall around them. You know what I'm saying?
There's been so many walls built around fucking, you know, people that are supposed to be getting God over the years. They get them little ass 1 and 2 yards back in the 80s and 90s and just.
Bro, I know someone that wrote a letter and they sent it out to the streets, and then they told the person to send it back in their writing. And it had all kinds of riddle code in it. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just so they could establish themselves in that household, because basically it was in an area that just didn't have no contact with the rest of the jail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Therefore, once they were able to see all this shit, they're like, oh, you know what I mean? Kind of changed the narrative of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and them dudes are in there. They're in the captain's office telling on everything too. That dude, Leonard Mejia, man, he might as well have had a bunk right in the captain's office. Like, he literally, just the whole yard, there's a table in front, you know, a little, you know, metal table. Bro, he'd have his little blanket down on a seat, back to his back would be to the captain's office, and that's where he'd be all fucking day, bro.
That's how Zebop was, bro. Zebop was like that too, bro. You know what I'm saying? Over
familiarity, like a
hey, my stupid ass told everybody, okay, it's January 22nd, so we all know what happened, right? Paulo got killed 89. January 22nd, it's the day of pay homage to all the NR fallen soldados and the birthday, right? So I said, fuck it, we're not gonna eat our trays. We're gonna refuse our trays that day in the morning and fast all day and have a spread, right? So all the homeboys fucking refuse their tray, right? Next thing you know, fucking about 15 minutes later, what do you think happens? All kinds of correctional officers come, man. They pull us out to search the cells and all kinds of shit. They thought we were going to kick off a riot. So then next thing you know, they pulled out Zebop and they pulled him in the office, and Zebop told them why we were doing what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Same thing when I tried to do the marching. So I tried to go to the old school fucking, 6 yard. Now we used to march in unison. We'd march a couple fucking laps, and then we'd fucking jog 15 laps, and then march, and then go into formation and bust down. I'm like, fuck it, we got a big yard. Let's do it. This is the new 6 yard, right? You know, they shut that shit down too. They wouldn't let us fucking march, bro.
How quick?
Man, they shut it down quick. As we were getting in formation, they were already fucking yelling at us, bro. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
I never back then. The fucking guard would be the one giving you the wick for your tobacco. He'd fucking light it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I got to experience the old 6 yard, which was cool, man. Anybody experienced the old 6 yard, man, in San Quentin? I've never been in anywhere close to that except for Corcoran Shoe, when there was a bunch of Cardinales all in that block. You know what I'm saying? And they had group yard back then, but I was a little knucklehead. But 6 yard was a fucking experience, man, because you felt like a soldier out there, like literally. Everybody's all fucking, you know what I mean?
It was a little more professional, like, well, not professional. Yeah. You know, that's the elite of the elite. But in the 6 yard, you're all together. You know,
got Steves today that couldn't even be bros back then. That's a fact. You had some fucking sharp ass head hermanos back then, bro.
Yeah.
Sharp as fuck. You know? Well,
right on. That's a little bit about the way they
everything, huh?
Around before the invention of the SNY, when SNY was just for the chomos and stuff. But interesting times for sure. Very interesting. You never know who you run into on a level 1 yard. Is that Death Row Joe? What the hell? All right, y'all. This is your boy Rojo, Big Flacco, Convicts Perspective. I'll be on to mess with y'all later on the live, man. Have a good rest of your day and make it a productive one.